Yeah, boy, it's November 11th. I mean, it's Movember 11th. It's Remembrance Day, and it's episode 97, and this is the Fantasy Football Auctioneer. I'm your host, Uncle Buckets. The Fantasy Football Auctioneer is the official podcast of thefantasyfootballauction.com, the internet's only website dedicated to fantasy football auctions. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fantasyfootballauctioneer, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Fantasy Auction. We've got a great show for you tonight. We're finally back from our bye week. I was in Niagara Falls, and so we didn't want to push. We didn't want to push the technology from that far away. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to get you ready for Week 11, that final, getting to be that push for the playoffs. But of course, our experts, they're always here. Slim, I apologize in advance for this, but I thought it'd be worth a discussion. He's reneging on trades from his very own brother. Slim, question mark ethics, question mark morals?
I don't think there's any ethical issue about pulling a trade.
I'm trying to pull the trigger with him on something. He goes, I just want to make sure you're good for it because Slim backed out of one.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. I think I called you a douchebag maybe, and then I did an LOL after because I was only kidding.
That's all right. I mean, don't offer them during the games on weekends when they can't be accepted then. It gives a guy time to think.
There you
I
go.
would have done it too if on the fly I told him, I said, yeah, I think I like it, and then slept on it, woke up, second-guessed myself, and pulled the pin.
All right.
Suck it. I kept Levy and Bell. I'm gonna enjoy it too. Savor them.
I'd take some Levy on.
I'd take a lot.
You don't have the ammo, I don't think.
You don't have the ammo, anyways. Blister, I'm going to change yours just from the story you just told me. And he's recovering from a fall from a tree stand. Blister, you okay? The back, everything's all right? Well,
it's going to be better, but it's a lot better than it was 4 days ago. That's for sure. A little stiff, a little sore. It was just the start of a pretty bad hunting weekend, so no success stories to report.
None yet, hey? Not a one.
Well, I haven't really tried too hard because we seem to have hockey all the time, but this was the past weekend, no hockey, so I was excited to get out, and the weather was poor, and falling out of the stand didn't hurt or help, and losing the bolt for your gun didn't help, and then having family picture day on Sunday, and then going back to the hunt, realizing that the deer that I've been watching and waiting for was there in the middle of the day when I was in town getting my pictures. So yeah, it didn't unfold like I had dreamed of it unfolding. Let's just say that.
Well, at least you're doing a little bit better in fantasy football than hunting, because this is a hunting podcast. I don't know if we have any listeners. So
fantasy's all right. Yeah.
Well,
this depends which leagues we talk about.
Speak for yourself. I texted you guys this weekend. I hate football right now. My teams all suck. I can't pick anything.
It's frustrating.
It's a nightmare. Anyways, if you guys are ready, then I'm ready. Let's cock the hammer. It's time for action. All right, so before we get going, this episode of the Fantasy Football Auctioneer is brought to you by the daily fantasy sports action of Fantasy Sports for You. Is your fantasy football season heading south fast? Not making the playoffs? Well, your season doesn't have to be over. Not if you play weekly games at Fantasy Sports for You. Join today through our link on their site. That's fantasysportsforyou.com. Use the promo code AUCTION and get the best deal on the internet, a true 100% match on your first deposit. You can play this match right away, not like on FanDuel and DraftKings, where those bonuses just trickle in at 4%. So don't write your season off. Head on over to fantasysportsforyou.com, click on our banner on the top of the page, use our promo code AUCTION, and get your 100% match and win some money this year. All right, guys, so like I said, we're going to get you ready for Week 11. So we've got a few things to talk about. We haven't been here for 2 weeks, but I guess let's quickly update everybody on the fan leagues and tell everyone how we did last week. Blister, any success in the fan league?
Last week when we never pot, I picked up a win, but so I didn't get to talk about it. It's been so rare, right?
Yeah.
This week I got spanked again. This time by Sean Atchison, team name Who Dat, and his team wasn't spectacular. He was led by the Arizona D with 25.
Huge.
Alex Smith had 15. Andre Ellington 14. Vjax 15. So, and the only other double-digit guy was Jermaine Curse. Actually had 10. But my team, well, Big Ben, after throwing 6 TDs in a row, stunk and got me 13 points. I had to start Lorenzo Taliaferro for 1.
Yeah.
Alan Hearns got hurt, got me 1 point. Zach Ertz, man, he's been one of the biggest letdowns at tight end this year, got me 2. So, yeah, it was all stinky. My Ravens D got me 12, and Antonio Brown, again, one of my better players, only got 11 though this week. So, and I didn't have anything on the bench. Most of the guys are on a bye. I could have started Tony Romo, would have helped me for 8 more, but I still would have got killed. So, yes, I hope that I might extend the playoffs to week 18. First week of the NFL playoffs. To have a chance to make it. Hopefully some of these other teams will get banged up. Quick change.
So, Slim, I noticed you don't have any notes on the fan league on the script. Is that purposeful?
No, I forgot. I never put them up. I just go, I lost again. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm actually typing in right now as we speak, a reply to a chirp from the guy that beat me. How embarrassing it is that I lost to a guy that had to use every bench spot available because he had so many bye weeks and stuff like that. So
And
I said,
still lost. Ouch.
yeah, well, that's not shocking, really.
Our experts league, Beckett. I know
Yeah.
you got to talk finally, but I got beat 190 to 66.8 in there by your boss's wife.
He hammered on me last week. And I lost to Blackie in that one, and I had Jordan Matthews on the bench. I had enough on my bench to ease him, but I wasn't playing Jordan Matthews.
Wow.
From who I had, but yeah.
Andre Holmes had 0 for me in that one, and that's terrible. I'm still first in my division. That's a bad division. Wow. But you know what? One of his big players, and I shouldn't be cutting you off, but he had the Eagles D, and you and I in the ECL league, our big.
We snuck it in there, didn't we?
Wow, we had no right winning that. We were losing. All we had left was the Eagles D were down by 30, and we were down by 30. We had the Eagles D. He had Cody Parkey playing, and Cody Parkey got him, I think, 9 points. So we got 40 from the D, and we beat him. That was a steal. That was awful.
But he also had Aaron Rodgers, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you expect Aaron Rodgers to maybe go off once in a while, maybe not 6 touchdowns and a half, but you don't expect the Eagles D to throw up a 40 cob and freaking pull it a win.
Wait for a count back. I've lost on that already this year, so we only won by half a point or something, didn't we?
Yeah, that was close, you're right.
And some big controversy in the ECL I see, too, from reading the emails.
Oh, boy, awesome. I think he's pulling himself out of the league, so we're looking for a new dedicated owner, it sounds like. Sad. It's pretty one time and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyways,
we play that guy. I wouldn't mind one bit. I wouldn't even said anything.
Yeah,
we
that's
just took the win and moved right along.
In my fan league, just speaking of being kicked out of the league, I beat James Hunter, the Butt Weasel, and Butt Weasel's an appropriate name. He's not submitting a roster. I don't know for how long he hasn't been submitting, but it's absolute crap. He had 2 guys on a bye and 2 injured guys sitting on. He was playing a Toby Gerhardt, and so Butt Weasel, get out of my league next year. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, and I'm playing our old buddy Bill Dreffel coming up here this week, old Ice Lacey. So it's going to be a tough one for me with DeMarco on a bye. He's running Tom Brady, Arian Foster, Jordy Nelson. So it's going to be a tough one.
There was Mike that was going to drop out of the league.
Pardon me?
Remember? Mike that was going to drop out of our ECL league.
Yeah.
That's who it was, right?
I think
that's who it was?
Yeah, I think so. That's right.
Yeah, try to sweet talk him into some trades. I know he said he wouldn't trade.
Yeah, but maybe you can talk him
He
into
might.
it. All right. Let's move into segment number 1 here, guys. Let's take a look at segment 1, which is We Just Got a Letter. So we just got a letter, or I guess a couple of tweets here. The first one, Slim, I guess I'll send out to you. ADK Rooms. So at ADK Rooms asks, he has an offer to give Lynch to get Graham. He says, knowing that Lynch has a tough schedule down the stretch, what are our thoughts, Slim? What do you think Lynch for Graham right now?
Well, I mean, without knowing anything else, which I hate these trade questions because, I mean, so much depends on your league setup and how many positions you're starting and things like that. But in a vacuum, I'm taking Jimmy Graham anyway. I don't care what Lynch's schedule is. So, yeah, I'm making that trade.
All right. There you go, ADK Rooms. Blister, next one's coming to you at Eric McCrae at EJ McCrae. 4327. He asks, who's a better player this week? He has room for 3, Blister, from the list. Terrence West, Jarek McKinnon, LaShawn McCoy, Alfred Blue, or Shane Vereen. Pick 3, West, McKinnon, McCoy, Blue, or Vereen.
I would play Blue, but I think Foster's going to be back, so I'm going to scratch him.
Yeah.
And I just don't trust Cleveland backfield because you never know what's going to happen there. I mean, West looks good, but it wasn't that long ago. He was a healthy scratch, and it just seems to be a tough guessing game. I'd go with McKinnon and McCoy and Vereen, just a little safer.
How about that Andy Dalton? I was sitting with Drum.
Yeah, he screwed me in the league. Yeah. I was texting Drum saying, what a loser your team is. He looked terrible. He wasn't even coming within 10 yards of his receiver. And they were saying, well, the winds are kind of swirling in the stadium. Well, it didn't affect Hoyer. He was throwing it right in the numbers.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to play at home, right?
An embarrassment.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. But it was fun to watch it with Colin.
Yeah, because he really loves us. He really cares.
Well, yeah, I know. But he had a few pops in him, so he pretended to care.
So he was dancing. Oh, okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, he wasn't sleeping, so that was good. Anyways, if you have any questions, lineup questions, trade questions, those sorts of things, you can hit us up on Twitter. We are at Fantasy Auction, or you can email us if 140 characters doesn't cut it. We are footballauctioneer@gmail.com. All right, let's move into segment 2, guys. I only have a few small bits of news for you. I guess the first one's going to be big, so we'll move into segment number 2. This one's called the Fantasy Football News Buy or Sell. All right, so in the buy or sell, we take a look at headlines throughout the NFL and ask the experts if they are buying or selling, the implications of said headline. The first one, and this is going to change a lot of leagues, maybe not. Reports are that Adrian Peterson's grievance hearing will be set for Monday. So I pulled this right off the waivers as soon as I guess right away tonight. But my son ran up and said, Adrian Peterson's going to play on the 17th or something. So I was trying to find that because he was watching TV. I don't know, but I didn't see it anywhere. Anyways, the hearings for the Vikings running back Adrian Peterson's grievance against the NFL will be held on Monday. This is reported by Pro Football Talk. Under that timetable, Peterson's playing status will be determined before Minnesota's November 23rd game against Green Bay. So he could be coming back here. Slim, buy or sell. AP, he will play again before the end of the season.
Well, I think a lot's going to be determined more so by the Vikings. I mean, it's really up to them if they want him to play or not. But I'm going to buy it. I personally, I think he should be playing now. I feel like, he was more or less suspended. I don't get why they're adding more games on after his court case is resolved already. Right. So it kind of blows my mind that there's other players, for example, Ray McDonald, who allegedly punched his pregnant wife and never was charged now, but has been playing the whole time. And now Adrian Peterson resolves his legal issues and is still not playing. It doesn't make any sense to me what the NFL's doing, and I guess that's kind of the beef many times with them is what's the what's the word I'm looking for here? The consistency, I guess, of these suspensions. But anyway, I don't see why the Vikings wouldn't play Peterson. I mean, I guess if they really don't care about trying to win, but I mean, to me, the coaching carousel, it's so short for these guys. We got a new coach in Minnesota. He's going to want to win. His job is dependent on winning games. He can't afford to go, 4-12 or something like that. The shelf life's too short if you do that. So I can't see why they wouldn't put him in there and let him just roll. I mean, he's rested. To me, he's probably pissed off, just anxious to get out there and lower his helmet into somebody. So I mean, I think he can have it's going to be a perfect time for a lot of teams. It's going to be right before the playoffs, in your stretch run. I think people should be, if you're a contender, you've got to try and maybe pick this guy up. Maybe you can get him for cheap. I mean, to me, now's the time before, in a couple weeks when he suits up, and then everybody's kind of, the hype is built up. You have more teams that are, really maybe needy of his services. All it takes is a couple injuries here. We've seen it the last couple of weeks. Look how many running backs went down. Yeah. If that happens again in a couple of weeks, somebody's going to be desperate for this guy, especially if they're a contending team. So I would try and get him now if you could. And, if we're talking about, say, dynasty or something, or keeper, the guy's probably got 2 more years in him anyway. So I've heard lots of people saying, well, if we don't know if he's going to play this year and that. I mean, if you can get him for a cheap price, who cares if he plays this year? If he's cheap enough, he's probably going to be productive for you for the next 2 years after that. So you've got a cheap running back for 2 years that hopefully can be, low-end RB1 for you over that span. So not a bad deal. Anyway, yes, I'm buying that he will play again this season.
All right. Well, I knew that'd be lots of talk there, so that's good. All right, going on to headline number 2. Blister coming to you. Mark Sanchez throws for 332 yards and 2 scores in his first start as an Eagle. So he kept Chip Kelly's offense rolling Monday night in his first start since replacing the injured Nick Foles. He was 20 of 27 throughout the game. No turnovers in the win over the Panthers. So heading forward, Blister, this week they're playing the Packers. They're at the Packers. Blister, question is, buy or sell? Sanchez is a top 12 quarterback for the rest of the season. And I know, and I know we don't normally talk about stats, but, I mean, this is news. It's Mark Sanchez, for crying out loud.
Well, hey, I'll buy that. I mean, right now the Philadelphia Eagles are number 5 in the NFL in total offense per game at 404 yards. And they're 5th as well in yards passing per game at 290 yards per game passing. So that means their passing offense is contributing much more to their total yardage than their run offense. And we all know LaShawn McCoy for being probably one of the highest touted running backs in their drafts and auctions this fall is really not producing to that level. So they're getting it from the passing game. They run the up-tempo offense. They run a lot more plays per game than most NFL teams. Sanchez was a big part of it, even in practice, because of the up-tempo. He played in more percentage of practice plays with the number ones than most quarterbacks would when they're not the number one, because it's up tempo and they want to just keep things moving along. So I think we saw what he can do with that offense. I mean, he's got better weapons than he had when he was in New York. They have some great matchups the rest of the way. I think they play the Cowboys twice. Green Bay's 10th ranked pass defense, but if Green Bay can put up points, they're going to have to throw the ball as well. So they're going to have to try to keep up. The Titans, they got after that. The Cowboys, Seahawks, Cowboys, and Week 16, your championship, they play the Redskins. So I think that, I think that he can be a top 12 the rest of the way, just based on how that offense is ran. So I'd buy that.
All right, buying that Mark Sanchez will be a top 12
daily fantasy gold.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. That's for sure. He helped me win this week. All right, Slim, going to you on headline number 3. The new starter, Drew Stanton, has not committed a turnover is the headline. Cardinals will go with quarterback Drew Stanton for the rest of the season, and he says he's ready for the job. In the 4 games where He has appeared for the Cardinals. Stanton has thrown for 614 yards and 3 scores, no interceptions, no lost fumbles, and Bruce Arians seems to be supporting him, saying he's more than capable of finishing the job that the team has already started. Stanton will play the Lions in Week 11. Slim, the question is, buy or sell? Stanton makes all the Cardinals wide receivers unstartable, however.
I'll sell only for, I'm thinking if you play in a 3 wide receiver league, you can still start Fitz and maybe Floyd. But I was just going to say the Cardinals receivers have been doing a good enough job of making themselves unstartable all year, really. Minus, a couple flashes from Fitz and John Brown here and there. Floyd's been terrible for whatever reason. He's not even getting targets really a lot of the times. But to me, obviously production has to take somewhat of a hit, even just in terms of touchdowns. But you know what? Like I said, these receivers weren't doing anything great to begin with. Fitz was, I think, surprising a lot of people by being kind of the most consistent and prolific guy there. So I still think you can start him. But, I think you're definitely going to have to play the matchups a little bit more. And obviously this isn't a very good one this week. The Lions are top-ranked defense. So this could be a tough welcome to full-time starter position here for Mr. Stanton. But, he's done it before. So
yeah.
And the team's good behind him, so maybe he's not going to have to do it. But if you're a Cardinals fan, you can't feel good about the chances. The team was looking awesome in a great position. The Niners and Seahawks were kind of scuffling, and they kind of had a stranglehold in the division. And now your starting QB goes down.
The other 2 teams are climbing back up again.
Well, they're showing signs. Maybe they're going to be getting healthier and everything like that. And it's only a matter of time before they start to probably figure some things out at least. So. Yeah, there could be downward trending while their competition can be upward trending. It's not necessarily a good thing.
I just think back to the auctions. We were jockeying for Michael Floyd, and when do you nominate him? When don't you nominate him? Everyone was so pumped to get him when they got him. And what do you have? 1 catch for 11 yards last week?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, didn't he have a goose egg?
How about Terrence Williams? Killed me in 3 leagues.
What the hell happened there? Yeah, he
killed me in 3 leagues. How do you?
I was close to playing him in a lot of dailies too.
How do you destroy a team? You destroy
Andre Holmes didn't have a target last week. Not even a target, let alone. Why? How do you not even get a target?
Michael Rivera show, baby.
He's been good.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the last news item, Blister, coming to you. Rashad Jennings could get a quote-unquote big share of the load on Week 11. So the Giants coach Tom Coughlin said running back Rashad Jennings will have a big share of the load if he is active Sunday against the 49ers. Just on the side note, Jennings has missed the last 4 games with a knee injury. So, Blister, buy or sell? Jennings is a solid RB2 this week.
Well, I'd love to buy it, but I can't buy it that he's going to be a solid RB2 this week. So I'll have to sell. I think he should get an opportunity. He should get a chance to on the field a lot. Andre Williams has been a disappointment. Hillis got a concussion last week, so I think the opportunity is going to be right there for him to jump right back into his RB1 role with the team. Problem being this week, though, and that's what we were talking about, is this week San Fran, their run D is 7th in the league. They only give up 91 yards per game. Their passing D is 5th in the league. They're only giving up 215 yards per game. What I can see on the flip side, the Giants' pass D is 25th, and their run D is dead last. They're terrible. So I could see San Fran getting out to maybe a bit of a lead and really milking the clock with Frank Gore more this week, running them a lot, really taking time off the clock, and long drives, extended drives, and resulting in points, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, the Giants realize they're down by 3 scores, 3 touchdowns probably, and suddenly they can't run the ball against them anyways. Probably they're going to have to start airing it out. So I can't see him getting more than 40 yards on the ground this week, and then by that time it'll have to be time to air it out, and then they'll start. He might get 7 catches and maybe another 70, But I just can't see him. That would be his best case scenario, 110 total yards, 7 catches, which would be okay in a PPR. But I just don't know. That could be a real stretch because I can't see him even getting that many. So it's going to be a tough week for Jennings to come back into.
There you go. There's the fantasy football news buy or sell. We're heading into segment 3 already, guys. Segment 3 is called Livewire. So in Livewire, our experts tell us about the waiver wire targets that they're taking a look at. Maybe talk a little bit about how much you should be budgeting for them, etc., etc. Anyways, who wants to start? Slim, why don't you go? Because Blister just spoke. Who are you targeting this week?
One guy that I think, that's maybe not quite so obvious. I picked him up actually a few weeks ago in a couple pools, is Jarvis Landry. I've always hated Brian Hartline. I've been waiting for them to find somebody that's better than him, and I think they've got that guy now. Last few weeks he's been more heavily targeted. Had a decent game this week. I think he's just going to keep building off of that. And Mike Wallace does take a lot of attention away, and as a rookie, we've seen what these rookie wide receivers are doing. Landry's just another one of these late draft picks that is showing that he can be productive. And I think as the season progresses, he's just going to keep improving his game here and becoming more and more of a focal point in this offense and kind of phasing out Brian Hartline.
So Landry, just for everyone out there, is only owned in 11% of leagues. Actually, I was surprised to see 11, but anyways, yeah. Moving on, Blister, who's your number one target, or who is someone you're targeting?
Well, not my target, but C.J. Anderson, running back for Denver. When the season started, everyone expected him to be having a bigger role, and he kind of got shifted to the back burner. Monty Ball was the number one out of the gate, and he didn't do much with the role, and then he got hurt. Ronnie Hillman did pretty well, but now Ronnie's hurt and is probably going to be out for 2 weeks. Monty Ball should be back this week, so it's hard to know what to expect, but I think what we saw last weekend from CJ was probably the best performance, all-around performance by a Denver running back. I mean, he had, 13 carries for 90 yards, averaging 6.9 yards a carry. He threw on there four catches for 73 yards and a touchdown. So he had 163 all-purpose yards and scored. So I think that, Monty, it's hard to say how they're going to be used this week. It's kind of a bit of a gamble because if Monty Ball is going to get the majority of the work, well, then CJ's value is going to diminish, and then, in another week or two, Ronnie Hillman's going to be back. It's going to muddle things pretty good. But if they give him a chance and he produces again, I think they'll go with the hot hand. But it's a tough call. But he's worth a stash. I mean, going into your playoffs, it's a high-powered offense, and if for some reason they decide to lean on him, get him now before his value goes too high.
He's only owned in 11% of leagues as well, and a little bit of a PPR look there too, right? 8 receptions on 12 targets so far this year, 107 and a score. So if he gets, more playing time, that could be something special in a PPR that might be of interest.
For sure.
Anyways, Slim, next up on your list.
Well, I guess we'll go to Alfred Blue. I mean, he's probably been picked up at one point in most of your leagues. If for some reason that owner, through bye weeks and with Foster coming back, had dropped him, now's a chance to maybe go and grab him. Foster got banged up. His durability has been in question in the past. Season's kind of progressing. How motivated can Foster be if the team starts to really struggle? Maybe we'll see him not be in any rush to come back from little nicks and injuries, so Alfred Blue could get more touches. Right now you're more or less taking flyers on guys, especially if you can handcuff them with somebody. Trying to stack your roster as much as you can before the playoffs. Maybe you're running out of free agent acquisition money. So, you got to try and be a little bit ahead of the game and trying to get guys cheap right now, a couple weeks before they're going to break out. So, maybe you could get them for a couple bucks right now, as it looks like Foster is going to play. So he can kind of be an afterthought. And, if Foster gets nicked up in one of these next couple games, he can all of a sudden be a startable running back for you.
All right. Blister, what's next on the list?
Well, we saw a great performance last night from Jordan Matthews, the rookie wide receiver for the Eagles. And I think if he's available, you might want to put him on your bench. But I think you still need to temper your expectations somewhat. He had a big game last night. He had 9 targets. He made 7 catches, 138 yards, and 2 scores. That's his best game of the year. But he's had other games where he's had, like 3 weeks ago against Arizona, he had 11 targets, but he only caught 6. He only ended up with 4.7 fantasy points. Well, this is standard scoring, by the way. And then in week 3, he had 9 targets, but he caught all 8. But that's about the last time he had a really big game. He had 17.9 points fantasy. So he's had targets, like if we go back 4 weeks, 6 targets, 11 targets, 4 targets, 9 targets. 4 is not that exciting, but he hasn't, other than he's had 3 weeks only in double-digit fantasy points as far as standard scoring goes. So he's not really, we have to see some more consistency. I think he's probably entrenched now as the number 2, though, and going forward. I mean, especially if you're in a dynasty, I can't imagine him being available. But take a look out there, and he could help you down the stretch run.
Well, and one thing too, Sanchez isn't necessarily going to be the big ball outside the numbers type of a quarterback, and so Matthews slotting in there literally in the slot might be of interest as well. Just kind of looking at the tendencies of Sanchez, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on, Slim, what do you got?
Well, staying with the Eagles, I'm going to say Mark Sanchez. I look at him, and based on what I've seen from Foles this year, I know I was in a discussion last Thursday. We're having some wings and some beers with a buddy of mine, and I kind of said, I don't think Sanchez is that much worse than Nick Foles is right now, and he kind of begged to differ. But we looked at what Foles was doing, and it wasn't spectacular. Yeah, he was putting up yardage, but he was throwing interceptions, and he had a couple touchdowns every game. Well, I think any quarterback that throws the ball as often as Philly does is going to put up yards. It's what they do with the ball, and I have a hard time believing that Sanchez can't, sit in the pocket as long as he gets protection, and he's got some weapons, throw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks every game, just like Foles was doing. So, I mean, if you were starting Foles or Foles was on your roster, why can't Sanchez be then? At least, you stream him, play the matchups. We saw what he did this week. I don't think that's out of the question that he can do that against favorable matchups for the rest of the way. So I'm going to take a flyer on him if I had Foles, or else if I'm streaming quarterbacks, maybe I don't have Foles and I'm sick of Jay Cutler or whatever. There's guys out there that are underperforming, and he's a guy you can look to, I think.
All right. Blister, you got anyone else on the list? I know I picked up Sanchez in a couple. I was happy with it.
Why don't we go RG3? I mean, I think he was probably dropped from a lot of teams, and he's probably out there for quite a few. But, he hasn't been spectacular this year, but he's coming off a bye week, so they've had a little extra time to prepare. They're playing at home against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the 31st ranked pass defense. So I would expect him to maybe air it out a little bit this week. I'd expect Deshaun to have a good game and Pierre Garçon to probably have a showing this week because he's been a kind of a disappointment this year as well. But I think he should be in line for a good game this week. So Jordan Reed's a tight end that I would look at, one of your not so expensive tight ends that I think could potentially have a really big game this week as well. So look for that air attack in Washington, and RG3 could lead that.
All right. And now, you're like me sitting there with him on a dynasty too. And what do you do? You're waiting around now to see maybe if he does something kind of big this week, you can sell high. Anyways, anyone in our league listening, I could willing to sell. I'm just saying. Anyways, Slim, you got anyone else on your list?
No, I'm pretty much good.
All right, Blister.
No, we can.
Saw one name on the list here. Did we talk about him already?
I don't know. Josh?
Yeah. No?
Gordon? Well, we can mention
I don't
Josh Gordon.
Oh,
If he's still on your waivers, then send me an invite to your pool.
He's eligible to return week 12, and so that's coming up fast. It'll be interesting to see how he is used. I mean, they're saying, well, he's not just going to come back in and get the ball. Well, yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I mean, he's stupid not to.
Yeah.
If you can say that all you want, but he has to get the ball, and that should start opening up better lanes and holes for the running backs. Unfortunately, they got a 3-headed monster there. Crowell keeps dropping the ball, so he keeps going promptly back to the doghouse. Ben Tate is being, he is what he is. And last week, Terrence West started to look good again. So you just never know with that backfield who is going to be. They're like New England, New Orleans, Carolina, Denver. Confusing.
Well, Josh Gordon is available in 30% of Yahoo leagues right now, so he's only owned in 70. And to backtrack one more, RG3 Blister is only owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues right now, so very much available in the majority of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Well, there's yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
That was Livewire, guys. What's that?
That was live.
That's
good.
Live.
That's good.
All right,
That's
good.
sweet.
Let's move on. Segment 4 already, guys. This one's called the Fantasy Game Breakdown. So in the Fantasy Game Breakdown, the boys take a look at one game that they're targeting as far as fantasy implications. Blister, let's start with you. Who are you looking at, or what game are you looking at this week?
Well, I'm going to look at Mini at Chicago. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Bears, and there's a few diehard Bears fans, and I know that listen, and there's a few that are in our leagues, and they can't be too happy right now. Minnesota's ahead of them in the standings. That's mind-boggling to me. I mean, when you think Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Cutler, Martellus Bennett started off like one of the top tight ends in the league. Matt Forte. I mean, they got weapons like crazy, but their defense is awful. And I think, I was looking at some numbers here in the matchups. You're thinking that, well, they got Minnesota and they're not that good. They should be able to handle them at home, but it's not going to be easy. First, it's a divisional game. They're always tough. Minnesota's actually got the 4th best pass defense in the league, so that's not going to be easy on Cutler and the boys. They're the 16th ranked run defense, so hopefully they'll see a lot of Forte. But when you flip it around and Minnesota gets the ball, although they don't have the big, fancy, scary names, they've been able to put 4 wins together already against Chicago's 28th ranked pass D, and they got the 15th ranked run D. So, it's going to be a lot. You'd think that this is a good game for them to rebound, but I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a lot closer than the other games they've had recently, but they probably won't give up 50-some points this week, probably.
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see, like, Brandon Marshall, Alshon, they've had some good games and they've been fairly quiet. Like last week, Brandon got his ankle tweaked there. Hopefully he'll be okay, but he was the only one that really did anything for them for as far as catching the ball goes. So I know Chicago, they're getting that young rookie receiver that was hurt back soon, Marquez Wilson, I think it is, and they released San Antonio Holmes today, so they made room for him.
But he did pretty good.
Cutler's got to make better. I mean, we had this talk at the start of the year about Cutler and why we kind of seem like we're down on him and why he's not a top 5 quarterback with all these weapons, and it's just. That's what happens. I mean, he goes out and he makes stupid plays, and right now he's still ranked 8th. That's not too bad, but 10 picks. He's right there. He's tied with who is he tied with? Well, Foles was up there, and so was actually Drew Brees. So, he's still getting me some solid production, but I don't know. So it'll just be interesting to see, do they bounce back? Do they get all their big names going again? What's Mini got coming in? Teddy Bridgewater's had a bye week to prepare. He's not a bad quarterback. We want to see what he's doing. He's one of my dynasty quarterbacks that I, hope to sit on for a while and hopefully see him develop a little bit more. I don't know for the life of me what the hell's wrong with Cordarrelle Patterson or why, why they're not getting him the ball.
That we don't know about.
There's got to be something going on, because why is he not even being involved in this offense when he's potentially
can't get open?
Most explosive guy? Well, why aren't they giving him any? Like he used to run the ball. He had more yards running the ball at the start of the year. They don't even try that anymore. I'm not sure because I haven't watched the game, but it's not right. Kyle Rudolph is coming back though this week, and he could help the offense a bit. It'd be nice to see him, being involved and get things going. So, and it'll be interesting if AP comes back. I know it won't be for this weekend, but it would be nice to see. Jerick McKinnon's been playing quite well though, and I think he should have a solid game and get a lot of touches again. So, that's why I want to watch. I want to see if Chicago can get off the schneid.
All right, Slim, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at Indy and New England. I mean, I'm not going to spend tons of time on this game. I think most people that follow football can look at this and think, okay, could be some points put up in this one. I kind of just wanted to talk more about Andrew Luck, who, not for, not for his, saying, oh, he's going to have a big game and everything. We know that he's going to put up some points in this game. I just want to, first of all, I want to admit that I was wrong on him this year. I missed the boat on that a little bit. I mean, you look, he's leading the league in passes attempted, which I never would have guessed would happen with him based on the offense that Pep Hamilton likes to run. I figured they were going to keep the ball on the ground a lot more. And, I think they had the guys to do it. Ahmad Bradshaw has been much better, I think, than anyone anticipated. And, T. Rich has still been, we'll say, serviceable. So they have two capable running backs, but yet they're still throwing the ball 40-plus times every game, which, I didn't expect that. I really didn't think that Andrew Luck would get the volume to become a real elite fantasy quarterback. And I'm surprised that they're doing that. And, like I said, I did not see that coming. So kudos to you guys that took Andrew Luck, high in your drafts, thinking that would happen.
I'm going to call T on you right now, just because I just accepted the trade. Your brother just put it through. Blister, rate the trade. A guy who's building for next year trades Andrew Luck for 2 firsts. Go.
Really? You give Andrew Luck away for 2 firsts?
Yeah.
You just did that?
Just did it.
Oh, yeah. I would have given you 2 seconds, but
sold.
No. Wow. I don't know. I mean, you got Andrew Luck. He's a proven commodity. He's #1 quarterback in the league, and I think he could be for 10 years from now. You don't know what you're getting for your 2 number ones. You got a #1. What are you going to draft? A #1 what? I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to draft a #1 quarterback because I've got a few of them already. So.
Yeah, you do have.
I have Bortles and Carr. I have RG3 still, actually.
I would have shopped one of those other 2 guys. You got all those guys in your dynasty team?
Trust me, I've been trying.
Well, you can survive that way. I guess you got 3 good quarterbacks. You can play matchups. Hopefully Bortles and Carl just keep getting better. RG3 should have been better this year, but I think he still could be better down the stretch yet. But yeah, I don't know. The draft picks always worry me because there's a high percentage. Maybe I should say high, but there's a good percentage that don't work out.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're going to get, and I don't know. So Andrew Luck is now over Coach Stu.
He's now under Stu's tutelage.
He got a year 1 draft pick. See this other trade he made?
Yeah, well, he did it.
I've heard of Matt Ryan and a 20.
He made that move only so that he wanted to make sure that the first could come over to me. So it gives me 3 first-round picks now.
Oh. So he did that first, and then he did this other one. Huh, interesting. Oh, I see. You give up Rashad Johnson. Huh.
Well, for 5th.
Keep going.
Anyway, sorry, Slim, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just pressing accept on that, and I thought it was coincidence. Sorry, continue. Continue with that game.
Sorry, I was looking at the trade. I had to go to the pool now and check it out. Where was I? Jeez.
Whoa.
Talking about the Colts.
Colts,
we got Luck. He's #1 fantasy quarterback. Brady's been the #7. Started off slow, really coming on lately. His numbers probably aren't indicative season long of where he should be in terms of fantasy production right now. I mean, in essence, I think we're talking about 2 top 5 quarterbacks fantasy-wise right now. Gronk's been on fire, so I don't expect that to change necessarily in this game. Sorry, but Vontae Davis isn't going to be able to do much, I don't think, against Gronk. So, I mean, I expect him to have a big game. T.Y. Hilton, #8 fantasy wide receiver right now. Dwayne Allen's been hot lately. I just feel like, Brandon LaFell's been coming on. This is a game where offense is going to be at a premium. These are the types of games that the Colts like to play in at times, too. Their defense kind of shows up some weeks and not in others. I have a feeling this is going to be one of these games where both teams are in the high 30s. So buckle up, man. This could be, 400 yards passing for 2 quarterbacks in this game. If I was on NFL Network Sunday morning show, I'd probably make some kind of crazy bold prediction about this game.
Ooh.
But like I said, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on it. I think we're getting 2 quarterbacks that are hot right now. So I think we're going to get some points.
There you go. So I'm sorry for the interruption. I just thought it was irrelevant.
Yeah, don't worry.
Anyways, and I just got a text from our lawyer friend. He says Frank Gore's only got about 6 games left in his career, so I should make a trade with him. So.
Oh, he's such a seller.
I know. I called BS on that, but anyways, he was going to throw in Jake Locker to sweeten the deal. Really? My roster, Jake Locker ain't helping me, and no one wants him as trade bait or anything. Anyways.
Not even starting.
Yeah. Thanks. That's awesome. So I'll take Jake Locker behind one of my quarterbacks.
Hey, take Locker, and then I'll trade you Mettenberger if you want. I just got him, so.
No, but I already had Mettenberger before.
I know, I'm kidding. It doesn't make any sense.
Anyways, okay, guys, that's the end of segment number 4. Let's head into our final segment for this week's podcast. Segment number 5 is called This is the Man. So This is the Man is where we pit expert versus expert in head-to-head player matchups. We didn't podcast week 9, so we're just looking back to week 8 really quick. Score coming in was 33 for Slim and 32 for Blister, so Slim was in the lead. If we just take a quick look, I don't know, we don't need to go through it because it was 2 weeks ago, but if we take a quick look, Blister scores 4 points last week by picking Eli Manning over Foles. Both of you scored points for Bobby Rainey over Taliaferro. Both of you scored points for Andre Williams over Juwan Thompson. You lost to Martavius Bryant because you guys both picked in Dougie We Trust, Dougie Baldwin. Both of you picked John Brown over Wes Welker and did not score there. Both of you picked ASJ over Michael Rivera, who went off in week 9 for 24 smash. You both took Dante Moncrief, who we also recommended to a buddy I did anyways, to pick up on a waiver wire at 1.2 that week. And finally, both of you took the Vikings over the Saints, and that was a push because it was 6 points to 6 points according to FF Today's stats. So Blister scores 4 last week. Slim scores 3 last week. We're all locked up, guys, after week 9. So we're going to take a look here at week 10. So we blew through that really quickly, or week 11, sorry.
Week 11, yeah.
Yeah, skipping over week 10. So the points are skewed. That's okay. It's still head-to-heads. First one, and because Blister's the defending champion and you guys are tied at 36-36, Slim, you get the first option here. So Mark Sanchez at Green Bay or RG3 hosting the Bucks. Go.
I hate this pick because I'm going to stick with my rankings. I'm going to go with Sanchez. I don't like that RG3 is going against a pretty crummy Tampa Bay defense, but I just think, Sanchez might have. They could get down, fairly big in this one if he plays poorly to start the game, and then all of a sudden it's garbage time for a long time, which not a bad thing.
All right, Blister, coming to you. I can't believe that we're actually calling this "Who would you pick?" and
I know, man.
Just put Sanchez over RG3. Anyways, Blister, who you taking?
I'm going to take RG3. I've just been talking him up about playing the second worst pass defense in the league, and coming off a bye, I got to go with my gut there. I'm trying to play him in a lot of different daily fantasy, different scenarios, and that's my boy this week.
That's your boy. All right, moving on to the running back position. Blister, staying with you. Again, can't believe I would be asking this question. LaShawn McCoy at Green Bay or C.J. Anderson at St. Louis?
Well, I'm just going to go with LaShawn McCoy here. I think his points could come in screens and it could be catching more so than rushing, but total points he's going to outscore CJ. Don't know exactly what's going to happen with CJ if Monty Ball's going to cut into the workload, but I think if they're going to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, they're going to need to try to run the ball, and the Green Bay run defense is atrocious. It's 30th ranked, so they're going to have to try to pound the rock with LaShawn and keep Aaron on the sidelines if they're going to win.
All right, Slim, what say you, McCoy or Anderson?
I'm going to go with McCoy, too. There's just way too many potential touches there for him, and we don't know how many carries Anderson will necessarily get here this week, so you got to go with the proven commodity.
All right. Moving on, staying with running backs And Slim, staying with you, Rashad Jennings, who's hosting your 49ers, or Blister's boy Ryan Matthews hosting the Oakland Raiders.
Well, this one's a tough one because both these guys are coming off of injuries. And on a side note, I found it really tough this week just even doing my running back rankings because there's so many guys that were banged up that could potentially be coming back, and it's tough to know who's in, who's out at this stage yet. But I'm going to go with Matthews. It sounds like he's going to play. Jennings, Coughlin hasn't committed to that yet. And even if he does play, I don't know. I think both will probably be limited if they play. So I'm more or less just taking the guy that sounds like for sure he's playing. And this could be a game where he does get more touches within Jennings, depending on how the Giants' offense plays against a pretty tough rush defense. So, Matthews it is for me.
All right, and Slim's been talking about his rankings here. You can head on over to our website, thefantasyfootballauction.com. Click on the player rankings tab, and right there, all three of us have our rankings up on the spreadsheet, and also our consensus rankings are there as well. So we do that each and every week. That's thefantasyfootballauction.com. It's /player-rankings, by the way. All right, Blister, who are you taking, Rashad Jennings or Ryan Matthews?
I got to go with Matthews as well. I mean, San Diego's been getting embarrassed the last few weeks until they're coming in off a bye. So if Matthews is able to play, Oakland's one of the poor run defenses, ranked 26th versus San Francisco, like I said earlier, 7th. So I think they got to figure a couple things out, and that's getting some points on the board, moving that ball again like they were at the start of the year. So I think Ryan Matthews was out of the puzzle for a while. They got to get him back in there and get him going to get that offense going as well.
All right, so we're going to keep this rolling now. We're going to go to the wide receiver position, and Blister, staying with you. Taking a look at Martavius Bennett, where am I going? Martavius Bryant at the Tennessee Titans, or Anquan Bolden at the New York Giants.
You know what? I remember I talked to Slim last week about Anquan. I said, I think I like Anquan again this week for week 10 it was, and he had a great game again, 97 yards, a touchdown, and I was playing him because he was a cheap flex option and then I don't know what I read, and something read talked me out of it, which made me mad when I seen how good of a game he had. Bryant again had a big game. He hasn't been getting a lot of targets and hasn't been on the field for a large percentage of the snaps, but when he is, man, he's been effective finding the end zone a lot. But I just think that he's due for a little bit of a, I don't know, not as much of a big game against Tennessee on a Monday night. I'm going to go with Anquan Bolden.
Anquan Bolden. All right, Slim, how about you, Bryant or Bolden?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bolden too. More targets. I think last week was kind of more the exception than the rule with Bolden. He had a lot of drops. Could have had a monster game. Didn't capitalize on a lot of opportunities. I don't think he makes that mistake again. That's not really his style to drop too many passes like that. So, yeah, I'm going to go Bolden.
All right, so I'm staying with you, and our second wide receiver here. We're taking a look at Jordan Matthews at Green Bay. A lot of Philadelphia Eagles. They're a hot commodity right now. Or Keenan Allen versus Oakland.
Well, I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. Blister talked about it when he was talking about Matthews a little bit earlier. He's kind of been up and down this year. He did have a big game this week. So we know that he could potentially do it again, and the matchup's not bad. There should be some points put up in that game. But I really like these matchups with San Diego and Oakland. It seems like San Diego just can usually carve them up. So I'm hoping they focus a lot on Antonio Gates and maybe leave Allen one-on-one a little bit against what was a banged-up secondary last week. I'm not quite sure if Carlos Rogers is coming back yet this week, but yeah, I'm going to go with that Keenan.
Keenan Allen. All right, Blister, who are you taking, Matthews or Allen? The other Matthews.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Slim too. He might be more than Ryan Matthews, but he hasn't been wonderful. I mean, Keenan Allen, RG3. You look at these are some of the guys in our high stakes league that have really kicked us right to the curb and stomped us. They're not friends this year. But I don't know. Matthews up in Green Bay. Tough, it'd probably be a tough place to play for him, I think. But I'll go with Keenan Allen, and it's almost you don't do that with a lot of confidence, but we got to go with them.
Okay. Tight end position, Blister, staying with you. Travis Kelce hosting the Seattle Seahawks, or Michael Rivera, the Oakland tight end at San Diego.
Well, Seattle's had a heck of a time with tight ends this year. They've been terrible, and we saw Rivera carve them up and everything. So I think I'm going to go with Kelce in this one. I know Michael Rivera's been trend continues with Seattle having a hard time with the tight end. There's not a lot of options in KC, and Kelsey's finally starting to get on the field for more snaps. However, he hasn't been getting his number called a lot, but hopefully that changes this week.
All right, Slim, back to you, Kelce or Rivera.
I'm going to go with Rivera. I like how many targets he's been getting lately. And I expect that to continue this game, where they might have to throw a considerable amount to hopefully hang with Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. So happy with them early, right? Not so happy with those Chargers.
Yeah.
All right. Flex position, and one guy we didn't talk about as far as waivers or anything like that because we missed week 9, and so we kind of didn't talk about him. But Charles Sims, Slim, at Washington, or Jarvis Landry, who we spoke to earlier, hosting the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry. I know more, or I feel like I can better predict his production versus Sims. We haven't seen Sims yet, so I don't know exactly how he's going to be used. So yeah, I'm going to go with Landry.
All right, and Blister, how about you? The rookie Charles Sims or Jarvis Landry?
Well, I guess I'll agree with Slim, and the only problem here is I think, like Jarvis Landry, they're playing against Buffalo. Mm-hmm. They got a pretty good defense, and it's Thursday night, so it could be this could be one of the worst Thursday night games coming up, and there's been some bad ones, so this could be a real boring one. The problem with Charles Sims is I really do think Washington coming off that bye is going to air it out, and they're going to put up a lot of points, and potentially a lot of points early, which could take the Tampa Bay running game almost out of the picture. And I know he can catch balls out of the backfield, but I don't know exactly, quite often you see that even if you got a good pass-catching back, once the game's out of hand, they don't get the production that they could have had if it was a tight game. So that worries me a bit. And we don't, again, on top of that, we don't know how much they're going to use them. So we'll go with Landry, and it's going to be a real slugfest, that one there.
All right, and speaking of slugfest, Blister, we're going to stay with these two teams for the DST. We're taking a look at the Bills or the Dolphins on the Thursday nighter.
Well, I'll go with the home team here. I think they're both great, but I'll take the Dolphins. I've used them a few times in some leagues, and they've actually really. I've been having some good DST matchups here, and in some of my leagues that have been helping me out quite a bit. So we'll take the Dolphins.
All right. How about you, Slim?
I'm going the Dolphins too. I agree. They've been a good streaming defense all year. Now they're, maybe not a streaming defense anymore because you might want to roll them just about every week. But I think both defenses are going to be good plays this week. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. All
right, so let's do a quick review. Slim's taking Mark Sanchez. Blister's taking RG3 at the running back position. Both guys are taking Shady McCoy over CJ Anderson. They're also both taking Ryan Matthews over Rashad Jennings at the wide receiver position. They're matched up together with Anquan Bolden to beat Martavius Bryant, and they both have Keenan Allen to defeat Jordan Matthews. At the tight end position, they are split. Blister's got Kelce, and Slim has Michael Rivera. At the flex position, both of them are taking Jarvis Landry over Charles Sims, and both guys are taking the home team on the Thursday night, the Miami Dolphins, over the Buffalo Bills DST. All right, so guys, that's week 10. Anyone have anything that they want to kill in the name of, or are we killing this podcast in the name of fantasy football?
That sounds fair. I want to congratulate Slim. No, I just was checking. We got an update from the Scott Fish Bowl, and Slimmy's in the playoffs, so will I be. Both of us are.
Oh, did I? I didn't even read that.
You're going to make it in. Yeah, you're 7-3 in that league now, so you've been hot lately in that one.
Don't even look at mine. Leave it alone.
I won't bring it up.
Good.
You're the host, Dave. So you can always fall back on. It's like a pitcher. You're not supposed to be able to hit.
That's right. I'm like Pod Vader, right? You just make fun of me anyways. That's all good. Anyways, okay, guys, that is episode 97. We're almost hitting the century mark, guys. So I don't know, bells and whistles, dancers, that type of thing. Maybe we'll have to come up with, and it's running us right into the playoffs too. So should be a good show coming up here in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, I got nothing. I don't know. I'm going to see Blister in a tree stand, hopefully sometime with a deer cam. And
we're not coming over for supper tomorrow.
Oh no, yeah. No, you're not coming over for supper tomorrow. No.
We got other plans. I heard.
You two aren't invited. I'm going to leave that alone, as my wife's probably. Don't
worry, we already got reservations in Thunder Bay.
Are you? I got a question though. Are you jealous?
I know they're coming to Thunder Bay with us. Gone for the whole weekend.
The Hinkley couple jealous? Is that what's going on there? Anyways.
What's going on here? I guess.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you with reports of dinner tomorrow night, and for the rest of you, I'll see you when it's springtime in the Rockies.